Video games and lies go together like peanut butter and a frisky dog tongue when you lather it on your... Moving on, what I'm trying to say is that what with all the hype, the trailers, and the speculations with upcoming games, the rumour mill is frequently going into meltdown with spurious lies. The worst thing is that some of these were so believable that they pulled us all in hook, line, and sinker. Yet I'm not a man who gets embarrassed easily. After all, I've kind of just suggested that dogs lick my balls anyway moving on, so I'm man enough to admit that all the entries on this list got me with egg on my face and pie in my pants. I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, your one-per-list wonder, and these are 10 video game hoaxes that completely fooled everyone. Number 10. Crash Team Racing Unlocking Nitrous Oxide. CTR is quite possibly the greatest kart racing game, and say it with me, kids, of all time! With some of the WhatCulture staff even putting it above the holiest of holies, Mario Kart 64. However, that debate is not all we're here to discuss. No, what we're interested in is the rumours on how you were meant to be able to unlock the green meanie in a racing machine Nitrous Oxide as a playable character. It was an easy hoax to believe because all the other bosses could be unlocked in the game, and even a secret racer could be unlocked using cheats, so why not the final boss of the game? Rumours began to circle that you can unlock him for beating all of the staff set time trials in the game, an arduous task to say the least, but all you ended up really getting was a scrapbook, which was a nice touch, but it certainly made us look like fools for pouring hours into this admittedly amazing racer for a character who was out of this world. Well, I mean, technically he was out of this world because he wasn't in the bloody thing. Number 9. Street Fighter 2 Ryu vs Shenlong. The mystery of Shenlong is one that reaches as far back as Street Fighter 2, in which a mistranslation stated that you must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance, when it should have read, you must defeat my rising dragon punch to stand a chance. I mean, I can see how they got mixed up. They don't look anything alike. As you can imagine, without the internet and a ready source of checking this information with the developers, gaming fans began spiraling out of control in attempts to find what was the meaning of this mysterious Shenlong. It also didn't help matters that Electronic Gaming Monthly put out a piece in 1992 saying that you definitely could unlock him. Now true, this was an April Fool's joke that they were playing, but still, it was enough to convince the world that he existed, and the requirements for meeting him were insane. Needing you to beat the game as Ryu without taking any damage, and then when you got to M. Bison, avoid being hit and hitting him until the clock expired. I can only imagine how many people tried this, and the sheer level of disappointment should you actually have been able to get through this absolute gauntlet, only to end up with nothing. Kind of funny though, right? Number 8. Final Fantasy VII Resurrecting Aerith. Aerith, or Aerith, depending on where you're from, is and was for many the first lady of gaming, with her death being one of the most emotional moments in the Final Fantasy franchise. And because it was so shocking, it's kind of no wonder that many people believe there to be a way of resurrecting her somehow. It also didn't help that the game includes a revived materia, which many believe to be the solution to this emotional issue. By mastering the materia and then doing more challenges, you were meant to be able to bring her back from the death and the depths of that deep water. And there were even rumours that said that choices needed to be made before the event to bypass it completely. As you might expect, this wasn't the case, and countless people had to deal with the fact that alas and alack, she ain't coming back, and had to mourn for her loss, which according to the original story writers is exactly the point, as this is a tale about grief and moving on. Number 7. Mario 64 Luigi is Real. Mario 64, aka one of the best games of all time, I won't do it a second time because it's already probably blown your eardrums out the first time round, glad we could all agree on that, is a game that took the world and my childhood by storm back in the day, as did the rumour that you could also play as everyone's favourite green coward, Luigi. After all, why wouldn't he be in the game? Yoshi's in the game and all he's good for was ditching at the end of some long jumps. It all started when fans spotted what appeared to be writing on a statue in the princess's castle. It read, L is real 2041. And that was assumed that the L stands for Luigi and that 2041 stands for the number of coins in the game. This led to likely thousands of young gamers desperately trying to get every coin from every level in a bid to net the vacuum-loving brother. Of course, in reality, collecting all the coins did precisely naff all. Number 6. Tomb Raider Naked Lara. If you were a gamer in the 90s, I guarantee that you will remember this hoax all too well, and if you're a bloke who likes football and pints with the lads, you'll likely attempted more than once to try and get Lara Croft naked. So off we went trying to figure out the one true puzzle of Tomb Raider, only to come up short. This was all sparked off because PC hackermen extremes found a file in the game called Kextract, and in British, Kex is slang for underwear. wear. Don't ask me why, I never wear any. Yet, all we got for hours of putting in button combos akin to Street Fighter was sore thumbs and a ton of sexual frustration. Brilliant. Number 5. Resident Evil, unlockable Akuma from Street Fighter. Oh, look who it is, the masters of make-believe once more, Electronic Gaming Monthly, with another one of their brilliant April Fool's jokes. This time in 1998, they managed to convince the world that Street Fighter's Akuma was playable in Resident Evil 2, complete with some of his special moves. Now, I have to admit, Capcom has done a lot of crossovers in the past, but this, coupled with the barefaced lies that EGM pulled in the past, should have been a clear ruse to us all. But again, we all fell for it. And to be honest, I'm gutted that he's not in the game. Could you imagine how cool it would be to absolutely decimate the deceased with his moves? EGM printed that all you needed to do was beat the game 12 times, 6 times on each scenario with an A-grade rating, and to only use the handgun and knife each time. Absolutely ridiculous, and we all absolutely fell for it. Number 4. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Sasquatch. Ah, Bigfoot, you and I have so much in common. Large, haired beasts and photographed by absolute weirdos while being naked in the woods. Yet, the only thing as legendary as the big man himself is the myth that you can find one in GTA San Andreas. Things actually got so bad with the rumors that you could find him that Terry Donovan, Rockstar's co-founder, had to state, there is no Bigfoot, just like in real life. Well, even though Terry is wrong about it not existing in real life, come on, look at the pixelated, I'm being sarcastic evidence. He was right about Bigfoot being a fake in his game. This didn't stop people scouting the backcountry and Mount Chiliad again and again, and while there is no evidence, tons and tons of people still report that they've seen figures in the trees and shadows late at night. Rockstar themselves, though, were good sports about the whole thing because they included a Sasquatch mission in the Undead Nightmare DLC for Red Dead Redemption, making Bigfoot non-canon but definitely real in some form. Number 3. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, no Triforce for you. You could probably be forgiven for believing that a game featuring the central idea of an all-powerful relic known as the Triforce actually contained access to said relic, and that's entirely what this hoax is based on. When Nintendo, pressured for a screenshot, released a beta image of Link obtaining the full, undivided Triforce, fans immediately assumed that this would happen in the game. When it didn't, many were left disappointed. And you know what happens when gamers are disappointed, kids? They lie to themselves and make that into a new truth. God, that got kind of real, actually. Anyway, up sprang numerous guides that claimed to give you all that you needed to get the full Triforce, and all it required you to do was to launch bombs into lava pits, be at certain locations at certain times, and even getting to Ganon with 0 deaths and without certain items. It is, of course, like a wild weekend in Wales, a wild goose chase that will leave you foaming with rage. But it's hilarious in retrospect. Number 2. Final Fantasy VII PS3 Remake. Back in 2005, Square Enix managed to provide the materials for their own world's greatest troll. You see, at E3 of that year, Square unveiled something that put a Buster Sword in my pants because it looked to be a full remake of Final Fantasy VII on the PS3. However, they then told people that it was just a tech demo to showcase the machine's power. Why would they go and make this, cried the world. Well, said a few cheeky monkeys in the comments section, it's because they are going to make it, but just want to throw people off the scent. This, of course, did the exact opposite of getting people to not worry about it, and the community was blown up with people getting excited and disappointed in equal measure. Things weren't helped by the fact that Advent Children, the film about Final Fantasy VII that came out around the same time, had a message in the credits thanking the Final Fantasy PS3 team, but this later turned out to be a PSN port of the game, not the remake. God damn it. And number 1, Thief: The Dark Project. Bow hunting. The Thief franchise for many will be the epitome of stealth games, having you lurk in the dirk and swiping jewels from people like your girlfriends do on Tinder on the sly. I've not had as much fun taking out targets in dark alleys since, well, I took out targets in dark alleys in Newcastle. However, there was much trolling to be had when Thief: The Dark Project came out. Players who explored the underground level of the Bone Horde would be given a rudimentary map that had a strange marking on it labelled the Alaris extension. Now, the interesting thing is that this place doesn't actually exist in the actual level, and is only teased as a place that might exist in the area. This naturally became the subject of a hoax for seasoned players wise to the game's little trick, and they began circulating rumors that you could access the area and also snag an awesome bow upgrade. Obviously, this was absolute bunk, but it led so many players on a red herring hunt that it's become synonymous within the community. Also, it doesn't help that the Bone Horde is utterly terrifying as a level, and you might end up with the act of pissing your pants being the only reward for doing all of this.